Clark. I mean, that's clearly a foul, which was called. The question is, will they call it unnecessary? Chennedy Carter.
Is Caitlin Clark being treated differently because of the color of her skin by WNBA players? We're going to take a dive right into that today. I'll give some of my commentary during and after the video on my thoughts on how Caitlin Clark has been treated by other players in the WNBA.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting it, but I think it's just like, just respond, come down, let your play do the talking. It is what it is. It's a physical game. Go make the free throw and then execute on offense. And I feel like that's kind of what we did, but you know, it is what it is, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm just really proud of her for not reacting. You know, that was a moment, you know, she's a competitor and she kept her cool. And I'm so, you know, that's exactly what she needed to do in that moment in this game. It was a tight game. Like we didn't need to, you know, but she handled it amazing. You know, I'm going to go back and look at it. I'll probably send it into the league. That's what we keep doing. We just keep sending all these clips into the league and they keep telling us why we're not right about our calls, or what we think. But we're going to keep doing it. These guys are going to start getting calls. They've got to start getting calls.
It seemed like she turned to you a little bit.
Yeah.
After
I ain't answering no Caitlin Clark questions.
Did she say anything to you?
I don't know what she said.
What'd you say to her?
I didn't say anything.
That's enough. We're good.
She's good.
So she didn't have any comment about Caitlin Clark after the game, but Chennedy Carter did take to Twitter to share some thoughts here, saying, quote, "Troll notifications blowing up. I love it. We love the petty. We love a little kissy face emoji. And we love talking WNBA with our girl, Tarika Foster-Bradsby, WNBA analyst for us here on CBS. Tarika."
So as you see right there, Chennedy Carter already is acting very immature. She's acting like a high schooler, doesn't want to answer any questions. Her coach is also acting the same way. And like, we don't want to respond to this. I don't want to talk about it. But you are acting out on the court, fouling absolutely unnecessary ways. It's like a straight jealous way. If Chennedy Carter is not a hater, then I don't know who is. It's completely uncalled for. And it doesn't seem like her coach wants to give her, reprimand her at all or hold her accountable for her actions at all, at least not publicly. They're telling the press that's enough. We don't want to talk about it. Well, you know, you have to talk about it because it happened. You don't get to just act out and do crazy things and then say, oh, well, I don't want to talk about it after it happens. It's not how life works for any of you guys. Unbelievable. And she's super proud that her notifications are blowing up because obviously fans are destroying her comment section, in my opinion. You're being a poor sport. You're acting like one of those participation trophy kids. When things don't go your way, you just act out and get an attitude and foul people. Go join MMA if you want to get rough, and you'll find out how tough you really are. You're fouling people like to her back. You just ran, shoulder shrugged her. Unbelievable.
Yeah, this is so difficult, right? Because on one hand, you're excited because when you go on social media, we just had the Champions League final, but everybody is talking about this specific play, which is good for the W, right? Because we're finally talking, we finally got fans engaged enough to be outraged about something like this. So kind of a two-parter here. You know, in a league where it's been physical from the beginning, maybe some of the newer fans are just sort of learning that. Is this type of conversation good for the WNBA? And then going forward, are we as the media sort of making this into a bigger deal than what it needs to be?
I agree 100% that this conversation is good for the W. We have these conversations in NBA and NFL. We talk about this kind of stuff.
I also agree that it is good for the WNBA, and it does help gets eyes watching. And yeah, it gets us all talking about the WNBA because they need as much help as they can get.
All the time in every other sport. In men's sports, we don't have to worry about the sensitivity of the subject matter, right? It just kind of is what it is, and it flows into the play of competition. I cannot wait for us to get to a point where that same thing is expected in women's sports as well. It's not just basketball. I mean, we have these conversations in other sports too, where women are involved, and it really needs to show how we can evolve as fans and as media as it relates to how we converse and discuss certain physical topics among sports. Women are competitors. And like you mentioned, this thing happens in the WNBA. It's going to continue to happen. It's been happening. People have been physical for years. You ask anybody who's had to be guarded by Diana Taurasi if this is just something that just came up. They've been physical for a very long time in this league. I do believe, however, that with the heightened television, with the heightened viewership, with the more eyes that are on the game now, the heightened interest that are on the game now, I think some of the newer fans, to your point, are really just now understanding or just now really seeing how physical this game is. But again, the officials.
She does bring up a good point. The WNBA and the NBA have always been physical sports. There has always been some sort of confrontation that happens. There's always people that have done fouls and been ejected out of the game. But I mean, you still have to call people out when they do stuff that's unnecessary, whether it was two different people or not. What she did to Caitlin Clark was unnecessary. And I think it still needs to be talked about. And like she said, it does bring a lot of viewership and eyes to the sport to get people talking, right? But it still does not make what she did right. So I understand fouls. I understand the game gets rough. I think a lot of people understand that. We watch sports, all right? But people can clearly see the difference when something is done intentionally to hurt someone. That was totally different than like accidentally elbowing somebody on a layup, or trying to block a shot, and you hit somebody or something like that. That's different. She walked right up to her and like, wow, shoulder shrugged her like Shokan used to do on Mortal Kombat. So I don't know, man. I understand it is a tough sport and it can get a little rough out there, but I don't think what she did was called for. Let me know your thoughts down below.
It is their job to call the game by the books. Sometimes they get it right. Sometimes they get it wrong. I don't know anybody who's ever happy with the calls that officials make. But at the end of the day, as long as they're doing the job that they're supposed to do, the physicality with the game is not going to change. It's not going to get easier for anyone, for any rookie. I just really hope we get to a point where it becomes accepted that this is a physical game and not people wanting to see them kind of tone it down a bit.
Yeah, it's just been fun to see people chit-chatting about it. I did want to share this.
We definitely don't need any sports toned down at all. I can agree with her on that. But we got to call a spade, right? Like, yeah, I mean, Caitlin will probably get a little tougher over these years, playing in the WNBA with these women that have been fouling each other a little bit differently than they do in college. It's the same thing, that you see in football and stuff like that. When players go to the NFL, it's a whole different ball game. That is true. Even for them, if BS happens, they still call it out. If if a player goes and rips off a rookie's helmet and punches him in the face after the play, they're gonna call him out for that, and he's gonna, get in some trouble for that. And then his coach isn't gonna just say, "Oh, we don't want to talk about it." No, that's not how that works. So, like I said, she does bring up a good point that it is a rough sport, and there are physical altercations that do happen, but no one likes to be sucker punched, pretty much. And that's pretty much was a sucker punch.
This quote from Caitlin Clark in regards to all the physicality. She said this, I believe, after the Sparks game before this one. She said, quote, "It's tough, but that's just the fact of the matter. This is a very physical game and you're going to get pressure. This is professional basketball. It is what it is." So that kind of puts a bow on all of this. Welcome to the W, Caitlin, and any other rookie checking in. Tarika, thank you for checking in with us here on HQ. Always bringing the insight, and it's so good to see you.
So what do you guys think? Do you agree with me? Do you agree with Tarika? Or do you have your own opinion? Let me know down below. I do think that it was a little bit absurd for Chennedy to act the way that she did. I do understand that things happen on the court. The sport does get violent, but call a spade a spade. You can tell when somebody is a hater. We're not stupid. Chennedy was clearly being a hater. People can talk trash on the court, and you can win in another way by outgaming that person without having to literally sucker punch that person or walk up behind them and bank them on the head with the frying pan. It's pretty much what it seemed like to me, man. But, I could be wrong. But maybe there's a spot in MMA. Maybe Dana White can have a talk with Chennedy and see if he can have her fight some some girls that really know how to fight instead of picking on people. But it is a game. It can get rough out there. And, you know, Caitlin will tough up over as time goes on, and maybe next time she'll foul her back the same way. So it's all fun and games, man, in sport, but I hate to see people, you know, act like poor sports. You know, this is a clear representation of everybody gets a trophy type of mentality and a lot of jealousy going on. But it is what it is. You know, hopefully Caitlin will keep pushing hard and shining. We need all these eyeballs to the WNBA anyway. So, hey, more power to the WNBA. I'm happy to see them all talking and bickering against each other because it ultimately helps the sport and brings more money and opportunities for more American women in the future. So, hey, y'all keep doing your thing, but let's keep some integrity on the court. Let me know your thoughts down below. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you for stopping by. Peace.